imagine cold approach is like you trying to convince people to buy your product, right? That's like you're a con man, right? And your product is you as a man of value. This pickup skill is like you trying to convince people, hey, buy my product, and you never worked on your product.
Yeah.
So people who rely on I will just do more numbers,
Yeah.
they never work on their fashion. They never work on doing just making them more high status. If you ask me, hey Hans, like back in 2019, hey Hans, what's your hobby? Talking to chicks, man. That's my hobby. I don't do anything else. Maybe reading books, podcasts. That's it, right? So you can work on your communication or like your sales skills, but if your product is shit, no one is gonna buy, right?
Yeah.
So marketing is also you have to
Yeah.
make the product better. So that's why women just see that. Let's say you are the best talker and then you dress bad or you have nothing going on, you have nothing intellectual to say. No matter how good your game is, women who's like high quality, like she is going to filter through that. Like women are very socially aware. They're like very socially intelligent creatures. And this is why I think just relying solely on cold approaching and not having any social life outside of that and not being like a man of value is not going to give you results. At least this was the case with me. And since that day, I tried to change a few things and then boom, like things changed.
Yeah, it's the same thing as a company trying to get all of their leads in and all of their sales and just by doing cold calling. And I was doing cold calling for my previous business a lot, and it's a full-time job. You have to do the cold calling, and at some point you have to do the fulfillment as well. And I mean, there are companies who are making a lot of money with that, but at the same time, you have to have the capacity to do all of those cold calls. The marketing aspect is very important because it's way better to acquire customers just through organic marketing, for example, because they see the value behind it. And the same thing goes for cold approach as well. Women don't see the value initially when they talk to you on the street. I mean, you can dress up very well, and of course, you should do that anyways. And I knew guys back in the cold approaching days who were dressing up like sandbags and trying to do the cold approach because your looks didn't matter, and it didn't matter because you were overweight. I mean, you know, all the coaches from back in the day who were selling their products, their video courses, telling all the guys, yeah, you don't need to look good, you don't need to have this, you just do the cold approaches. And it might be true, yeah, but what's the investment for that?
You know what's funny? I met a guy here in Munich. So he was like my wingman kind of guy from like 4 or 5 years ago when I was still like active on the streets, charging the streets. Saw him, you know, like doing cold approaching and things like. He's like a attractive guy. Like he's jacked, right? He is like attractive, you know, he's fit looking and he has a nice job. And it's been 4 years since I stopped it. I'm like, okay, it's not yielding me results. Like I have to talk to hundreds of women until I find the one. It works, but investing a lot of time, it just wastes you. And then I see this guy still stuck on the same thing, thinking it's gonna work eventually. How the fuck is it going to work if it hasn't worked ever since, right?
Yeah.
So if something is not working, how come is it going to give you different results if you just keep on doing more? Just keep on doing more of what is wrong is not gonna bring you any different results. So you have to make a change. It's not the same anymore. You are in 2015 if you just focus on that bullshit anymore.
And just to keep in mind, guys, we're not telling you that cold approach is not working. So we're not of these guys who are bashing those dating coaches who want to sell their cold approaching products. I mean, we were students of cold approach as well, and we still do it every now and then when the situation is right and we want to do it, when we want to expand our network. But what we're telling you here is that it has changed, that there are a lot of things that have changed over time.